Oh boy. Sweet. How's it going?
Okay. Hi, everyone.
How's it going? Ah, there we go. And that was we had 1 second of the stream starting with the audio going, so that might be a bit of feedback.
Oh, good.
I
Oh,
caught it in time.
good.
I caught it in time. Sweet. We are live. I am Mage. This is Jessie. Hi,
I
Jessie.
am Jessie.
And we are today doing a Q&A live stream. We have a couple of questions that we got ahead of time to go through. But we also have live chat going. So Kiwi, Starkwill, and M, how's everyone doing today?
Hi, everybody.
Heck yeah.
What's going on?
Right. Do you want to start with the questions that you got first?
I mean, either way.
Mhm.
Either way.
Also,
Um,
everyone in chat, feel free to drop questions. We'll go through some written ones that we got ahead of time first, but chat is open to anything that you've got.
yeah, exactly. We'll get there. Well,
Mm.
we have no system. We have no way of going.
Should we introduce ourselves first, or is that kind of redundant? Because we've each done plenty of collabs on each other's channels at this point.
Exactly. Exactly.
Lydia, Midnight Smoke, welcome.
Hello. Hello.
Didn't have to call out a voice. Good.
Good.
I'm glad
Stop that.
glad
Stop
you
that.
didn't call out to worker previously, because of the previous
Yeah,
stream.
no,
By
I
the way,
don't.
that's a
I
good
don't
point.
encourage that behavior.
We should probably start with how you feeling today.
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Yeah.
Much better.
Good. 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 Alex, hey.
Every time I try and plan something like this, it always just completely falls out of place.
Sod's law, isn't it? Sod's law.
I'm terrible with this kind of thing.
Right. What's your first question?
Ironically, the first question I have is from Mage Bunkshelf. um, could you describe your process from where your characters, stories, and scenarios come from? Well, depends on the storyline. I very much like to take things in a different route than I see them normally taken. I like to take my own spin on something. A lot of established storylines, I'll get the ideas really randomly. I'll be sitting at work, or I'll be just chilling, going, "Oh, that would work." But a lot of the ideas come to me completely randomly. How many times I've hit up friends or this one over here
Hello.
saying, "Do you think that's stupid?"
Those are good ideas though. They just come out of nowhere. I was like, can I develop this? Can I go somewhere with this?
It doesn't always work. I've had a couple ideas that I've just essentially, tossed aside.
Yeah.
What
Sometimes
about
it
you,
doesn't.
Mage? Where do your storylines coming from? Besides your mind.
Well, I where else do thoughts come from? I guess concepts are stored in the mind.
Listen.
Lauren D, welcome. Hello.
Hi, Lauren.
I've always gone through the kind of idea with making content is that I want to make stuff that I, as the viewer, would be interested in, and this often comes from the perspective of being the viewer, being the watcher, being the person who is consuming the media, and enjoying it, but wanting something slightly different. Like, I wish they did this, or I wish there was something like that. So I've had ideas from watching other people's videos, listening to other people's audios, and sometimes you just try and guess where a story is going, and like trying to understand what's going to happen in the story. And I kind of play this game with like, if I have an idea of like, oh, what if the story went in this direction, and then it doesn't, you've now got an interesting idea to base it on. And sometimes I get ideas from places like that, or like seeing artwork, or just snippets of concepts. Because you don't want to do the same thing. Obviously, pretty much all ideas have been done at this point, so there's not too much point in worrying too much about, as long as you're not actually going full-blown plagiarism.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, I mean, the last video I did was um, the rancher and the royal champion, which basically just came from the concept of, well, Link is hot. What if Link just showed up?
Oh my god.
And
Well,
yeah, some of those ideas just come from places just like, I mean, the idea of Mitch. Obviously, I like, Monster Boy, Monster Girl sort of characters because I like the audios that like have elements to them that don't happen in the real world, and the non-human, half-blood, demi-human sort of characters just add a little bit of extra interestingness to a world, to a character, and there's a lot of stuff that you can, a lot of depth you can get out of that. I find that stuff really interesting. Um, but yeah, there are of course raccoon audios that have been done before, Mitch. Uh,
well, what
yeah, go ahead.
to some level, I completely agree because there were so many audios where I got into this by listening to a lot of it first,
Mhm.
and there would be so many moments where I'd go, "Oh, why didn't it go to that level?" Or, "Oh, we're doing this again. This feels like every other audio I've ever heard in this category," and finding myself going, "How would I change it? What do I want to see? What do I want
Mhm.
to do?" And I'm essentially just writing the stories I would want to consume, things that are interesting to me.
Yeah.
And Mage had a good point. Trying to come up with an idea that's never ever been done before. Well, good luck. So it's not about, reinventing the wheel. It's just about taking your own creative spin on something that's probably been done before.
Mhm. I mean, things like vampires, vampire hunters, they're pretty obvious. They've been done to death, basically. But I kind of start with, you've got a bit of the concept, the character or scenario, and that's just the basis. But you need a lot more than just that. And
Hmm.
where I try to take it from is like, what feeling does this evoke? What does this feel like as a scenario? And then digging into that as a thing that's interesting.
Well, there's plenty of things that I see a lot of other people doing that I don't mind. Or there's concept that they'll flat out avoid, like killing their listener or putting them in a lot of peril. Um, or just making those listener feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, what's wrong with being uncomfortable? What's wrong with
Mhm.
exploring the concept of death? We should do
Mhm.
that actually. Um, and I will do things like that, but I'll also put it somewhere in the actual you know what you're clicking on.
Yeah, you don't
I
want
won't.
you don't
I'm not going
want
to
to do
traumatize you
bait
needlessly.
and switch. Yeah. Hi, Kiwi. Vampire's been done, but Jessie's the only vampire that has a taser. Lauren has a question following on from that, but before we do, how did we not start with this? Uh, thank you so much to Alex Ray for the really adorable icons that he
Oh yeah, dude, I feel
just
stupid now.
made out of nowhere. Thank you so much for these. They are
Yeah, I
adorable.
was gonna say art throughout this entire video was done by Alex Riviere. Go,
Mhm.
you should you know what? I will include I'll include links in the description
Sweet.
after the
Uh,
Alex, check me your links.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Mhm.
Lauren asks, how do you guys come up with adding story ideas to the flow of a series? So sort of like, um, starting with the idea of the scenario of the series, and then planning a story from there.
Are more like just certain beats and things like that. Like, how do I know what I'm doing? And part three, part four, part
Mm-hmm.
XYZ. Um, with pretty much every story I have,
Alright, someone.
I have not. It's not that far planned out in advance. Some of them are, some of them, but I didn't usually come up with these ideas saying this is going to be an ongoing story. Um, like one of the ones you guys might be thinking of is Bridget. Bridget, as in the Wounded Vampire series, was never meant to be a series.
Mm-hmm.
I had this idea of like, oh, what if the vampire was the one who needed help? That's turning an idea on its head. And she came, she saw, she conquered, and then so many people were hitting me up saying, part two, part two. I need to see what happens to Bridget. What's gonna happen? And I went, okay. And I had to basically come up with an entire backstory for a character that was originally supposed to be a one-off. And here she goes.
And now your vampire
So
verse is just
now it's
ludicrously in
huge.
depth.
Now it's
Yeah.
huge. The Hunter series was also one that I was only really planning to do 1 or 2 videos for, and now it's massive. Now it's its own playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so a lot of them are ones that I never planned in advance to make into an actual series. There are ones that even with Mage have gotten a lot deeper, where him and I never planned for it to be an entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So the
the
first. Sorry, go
Raban
on.
was a good one. That little
Yeah.
collab that's non-canon. That was never supposed to be like an actual thing, and we thought that would be a fun thing.
We just wanted to
Should do
do
that.
like a collab with some characters, even if it was non-canon. Um, and one of like they just seem like the characters from both of our backlog of characters that were already established that would make the most sense in a scene together. Because you need some sort of rapport, otherwise the characters would just clash and not talk. Like, why are they talking to each other? They don't get
They
on
need
at
to get
all.
along.
Also, hi Eternal, welcome.
Hello, Eternal.
Like the first collab we did was my Vampire Hunter series, and I'd started. Well, so like first of all, Mitch, for instance, was only ever supposed to be a one-off. Well, there was no series planned. I think by the time I got to part two, I was starting to think ahead with where the character and the story might go. But part one was just supposed to be that was it. That was one shot. The Vampire Hunter series, I think I more or less had the 3-part series pretty much locked down from the start. But at that point, I was like the channel had less than 100 subscribers. I think I was blown away. I didn't expect that many people to be listening in the first place. I remember in the first month or so just being blown away that 12 people had viewed Incubus 1 and kind of still am. Um, but the Hunter audio, I had in mind basically from the start the sort of general idea of the arc, where part one is kind of meeting and then getting to know a bit. Part two is a meeting that is less confrontational and you got to have bitey time, and then part
Yeah, but
three
a
would
vampire
be
alley wasn't body time.
exactly, yeah. And then part three would finally meet the feral vampire that had actually been the cause of the deaths in the area that the hunter had been trying to track down. Uh, so I had the idea, and I was just like, "This will never happen. I'm never gonna meet people. How will I end up in a collab with anyone?" And then we met and we started talking, and I was already a fan of Jessie's stuff. Um, and I knew she did vampires, and she's like, "Hey, let's we should do a collab sometime." It's like, perfect. I've got it. I've got exactly the thing. Um,
Funny that you should mention that. Here, have a script.
mhm. So I only continued the Hunter series because I met Jessie, and then that it went on to be the most viewed series on the channel. And he did an amazing job as the feral vampire.
Oh, no one expects the vampire with a taser.
Exactly. um,
Oh God, that was a
Buns,
good time.
hello. Should we bounce back and
Hi,
forth? Shall I
Bunny.
read one of my questions?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, this is from Glitchy. What got you into liking raccoons? They're cute, yes, but what drew you to them specifically? Uh, and for the longest time, my favorite animals were wolves. I didn't have a particular affinity for raccoons, other than like I appreciated them as like they're pretty neat, but they're kind of like one of the animals that you don't really think that much about. But despite that, I've always thought pretty highly of raccoons specifically for um their relative intelligence and craftiness. And I always thought that if humanity went extinct, just overnight vanished from the planet, which animal is the most likely to take over and well, not necessarily take over, but become the most developed in the niche of intelligence? And you'd think about maybe dolphins being perhaps the second most intelligent species on the planet, but they don't have opposable thumbs. They just have their bottle-nosed gobs just poke things with. Like they can't do much. They're somewhat more intelligent, but how is that going to develop further? Raccoons, on the other hand, um, are very adept at using their hands. They can get into things. They can open things. They are essentially what you need for a tool user. So I always thought of raccoons quite highly as being the species that I think would most likely take over the niche of tool user, of most intelligent species, if humanity were to go extinct. And that leads me
really
very
funny
much
that
to
we're talking
Mitch. Oh my god.
I think it's funny how much we're talking about Mitch's intelligence, and I'm like, the boy got scared by fireworks.
Yeah, that was based
Maybe.
on my dogs.
I was gonna say that was
Yeah,
based on the cuties.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so Atonal asks,
Oi,
what
I'm not
is y'all
done.
least favorite?
Oi.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you were done. I'm sorry.
I'm nearly
This
done. I
doesn't
swear.
happen at all with us.
So Mitch was able to take over the world. Um, I just thought it would be funny,
Yes.
like
Yes.
post-apocalyptic AU Mitch. But
He's a conqueror.
but Mitch specifically came from I'd already done the Wild Fox Boy audio, and that audio basically flopped for the longest time. But I liked the character, and I kind of wanted to do something a bit like that. I liked the Monster Boy, Soft Boy sort of characters because they're cute, and I'd already done a fox, so a raccoon was a decent idea to like they're a bit different. There's a bit more you could plumb depth wise in terms of the character, and there had been other raccoon audios already that had been enjoyable, but I just felt like that I wanted to take it in a different direction because all the raccoon audios I'd listened to already, they all had like a pile of stuff. They had their trash pile, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. That's an interesting thing for the character to have. But I just wanted to do something a bit different. So Mitch kind of came from from Wild Fox Boy, of being this quiet character that's not used to being around people, that then just needs help. Um,
It's adorable.
yeah, Raccoon Wise was partially inspired by at the time I had just seen an anime BNA, which had a Tanuki main character, and also Day Sprite, who did the art for Mitch 3, took inspiration from the shape of the eyes of that anime for the design of Mitch, which was a genius addition. And also a bit of the VTuber Snuffy, who I just come across around the time. So like, raccoons, they're interesting, but I'd never really thought about them too much before Mitch. They are cool.
I just think it's interesting that Mitch became like the channel icon.
He was never supposed to be. That was never
But
the.
he is.
He just became, and I love that he did. But I've had the Respawn series planned for like 5 or 6 years. Before the channel began, I was planning for K to be the channel mascot. But I had so much to plan for that, and then Mitch came along and just took over, and I love that he did.
I was gonna say it was a very happy accident, and we're excited for it.
Yeah. Eternal's question. Sorry.
What is y'all's least favorite trope to perform or listen to?
Yandere.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, that's not Yandere is probably my least favorite to listen to, but it's not my least favorite to perform because I do actually love doing cray cray. If you've seen my a lot of my horror trippy ones, you know playing the villain is actually a really good time. So playing Insanity, while exhausting, is actually kind of fun. And if you know me at all, you know that like any yandere, you need to love me, is so far beyond anything that I actually feel in the real world that like it's hilarious when I do it. Ironically,
Sorry.
Ironically, my least favorite trope to listen to is actually the very stereotypical cutesy romantic stuff. A lot of the like it's just very basic, like your cute boyfriend slash girlfriend comes home and makes you a sandwich. I'm like, okay, fantastic. But like,
It's like the
what
cute
else?
comfort
Like,
stuff, but there's not really much story going on.
yeah, there's really nothing going on. It's just purely to make you feel good. And to its credit, that's fine. It's not something I dislike as a concept. It's just not something that's interesting to me to listen to.
Yeah, I'm more in the niche for like stories and characters and scenarios and stuff like that. And like, while those sorts of just basic domestic bliss comfort things, those are great. They're just not exactly what I'm after.
Yeah. As far as least favorite to actually perform, because you'd think it would be the Android, but it's not. The least favorite of mine to perform, um, mm, probably the same thing. Whenever somebody has to make me cute, like whenever someone's like, I just want you to be an adorable character that's doing adorable things, I'm like, stop calling me cute. I hate it. I don't like being nice. It's not my thing.
Takes notes.
Shut. He's gonna ask me to do a collab now, where my character's just
No,
adorable.
no, no, never, no. I might, but no. Yeah, I'm not that much of a fan of Yandere stuff. I feel that there's a lot, and the genre has kind of been oversaturated. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. That's what's that? It's a logical fallacy, argumentum ad populum. But
God.
yes, I'm bringing that
Do
to your
not need
channel.
to go through all of the fallacies. It's fine. They don't need to know.
I agree with the chat, by the way.
Oh, listen here, you little shit.
Uh-huh. But yeah, the Yandere stuff, I need. Well, I like playing villains is fun, sure. I do agree with you on that. But
I agree. You should do it more often.
I need to be able to understand where the character has come from, and Yandere stuff is just odd. And like, I don't. The reason why there's the whole dairy list of things is because it's kind of like it's just listing tropes. It's just things that have been done a bunch in audios, in stories and whatever, to the point that we recognize them, we can categorize them to a degree. But you need more than just the trope itself. You can't, like, you can start with, how about a character that is this trope? But then you need to be able to develop it further. You can't just go with the baseline, fill the required categories to make it a trope. Sure, that might feed the algorithm, but then there's not really much character depth. And
I've never really been interested in feeding the algorithm.
Yeah, it's exhausting. It's
one of those things.
It's so
I could put
fickle.
in it's a buzzword. A lot of these diaries are buzzwords.
Yeah, you need more depth than just Yandere. So I did the Yandere ship AI, and that was kind of a bit of a subversion. And that didn't start with the idea of it being a Yandere. It started with the idea of, I want to do an artificial character that it's creepy because of how they think. And I find thinking about the way that artificial minds think about the world and think about people to just be fascinating, because they're not human. They're not.
Do that, Mage.
My brain is immediately like, I need to quote Cabal from Command and Conquer, but no one would get it.
He likes his science.
Yeah. It didn't start
I told myself
as
when I did the Yandere.
Mm-hmm.
I told myself, I was like, I avoided doing Yandere content for the longest time. And I said, all right, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to present it like the horrifying situation it was actually going to be. One of the things I get very annoyed with, now for the record, I understand people are going to have their fantasies, and having fantasies are fine, provided it doesn't leak into the real world. So again, when I see people that are into this kind of thing, it's fine. But all too often, so many people would be really into the concept of having like a yandere boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And I go, that sounds horrifying to me. I'm the kind of person that really doesn't like clinginess. So the concept of someone that would like never release me from this relationship and you can't even look at anyone else, I'm like, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to make this a legitimately horrifying scenario, which is why the first thing that my yandere character does in that one little thing that I did is say, oh, by the way, um, I, I, I faked your death by literally setting someone on fire. And that pretty much sets the tone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, this is terrifying.
The idea of it is just really creepy. So you either have to like fully commit like that, and what I did was instead, the ship AI was put in the video thumbnail as being a yandere ship AI, but it doesn't go entirely yandere. It kind of it veers off a bit because the focus wasn't on meeting the trope. The focus was on the ship AI being artificial and just being a bit creepy. The dere tropes can be interesting.
Yeah, they certainly can be,
But there definitely needs to be more than just filling the quota for the trope.
yeah, yeah.
I like your tsundere werewolf, by the way, because they're not
Thank you.
just a
A lot of people
tsundere.
do.
There's a lot of depth to that character that is really, really interesting.
Cinderella's are something I never really consumed like media wise. I never really found it that interesting. So I remember when I decided to make this character Cinderella, I had very little idea. I remember I posted it somewhere where I was talking to people and I was saying like, is this correct? Like, is this what a Cinderella would be? Because
It was
I
in your
legitimately
server,
had
wasn't it?
no idea how to write a Cinderella.
You were asking in your Discord server, which is linked below, unless it isn't. Did you?
I don't think I did.
It's linked on on the front page of your channel.
Yeah, it is. It does exist.
Plug.
Shameless plug. So Alex, by the way, asks, when did you two start creating ASMR content, and how much has it changed your work that you've both done from back there until now?
This ties in. I got a similar question from the Uwooer as a cat bee.
Oh my god.
What made you start? What made you decide to start the channel? Do you want to go first?
Either way. Well, I have been doing voice acting for about 8 years now. Um, and I started kind of like it started dying off for me a little bit, like as a hobby. I wasn't really getting any work, I wasn't really doing anything, and I saw a lot of this like ASMR roleplay voice acting community online, and I was like, well, this is interesting. And I remember thinking, I could do this. This is voice acting. Like I could do that. And I actually went online and you can find a lot of like um what's the word I'm looking for? Forums and things like that where they have scripts already written, and all these scripts are like free to take, and they're there to be taken. And I kept reading these scripts going, I don't like that, or that's kind of dumb, or that I don't like. And every time I'd read these scripts that were done by other people, I would get so aggravating, or aggravated. I am a professional voice actor. I know how to speak.
Oh my god, you get so aggravating.
I get so aggravated.
Welcome, Lucky Wolf.
Hi, Lucky Wolf.
This is kind of what I mean by like you're expecting somewhere for it to go, and then if it doesn't, now you've got an idea.
Well, I got it got to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna write it myself. I'm just gonna write, write these scripts on my own. I started doing that, and the same thing with Mage. I was impressed that even like a couple people, 6-7 people, looked at it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it just kind of went off. How did you start? I say knowing the answer to this question already.
I found the niche a while back, and I just sort of listened, and it was just interesting stuff to listen to because I love stories and lore and characters and scenarios and stuff like that. And I would always used to read stuff, but I just couldn't find much to read. And I'd find the audio niche like, ooh, this is interesting stuff. And I didn't really think about making audios until I came across a post, and this was more on the Reddit side of stuff before I found it on YouTube, of a bunch of content creators saying there's a lot of Monster Girl audios, and they're good, and there is a wide variety of Monster Girl audios, and they're interesting, and they were saying why there's so few Monster Boy audios. Like, where are the monster boys at? And I just sat there and thought, could I do that? I could do that.
Why not?
And I've been making content on the internet basically all my adult life. I started back in my first YouTube channel was like 2008.
Widow baby.
And yeah. And I leave my old stuff up as like a milestone. It's like, bloody hell, I used to be this bad. I've improved since then. I think it's important to keep your old stuff.
Yeah, same. There's a reason all my old stuff is still on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just people where I enjoyed this niche of stuff because it's interesting. I like the characters, and then they're saying, well, there's none of this with Monster Boy characters, and that just got that part of my brain going, where it's just like if I enjoy stuff, if I enjoy content, I start thinking, well, can I make that? And usually the answer is yes, you can. You can achieve anything that you put your mind to, but the caveat is you can't achieve everything. So it's important to apportion efforts to projects that you'll have time for. You can complete any project, but you just can't complete all of them. So you don't want to bite off more than you can chew with like starting too many projects all at once. But
I don't know what you mean. I've never done anything like that.
No?
No, I've never done it.
So yeah, I kind of started that. I began by looking into writing my own scripts to post online for other people. They're all offline now. And they didn't get filled. And when I found the YouTube side of stuff, I just started building plans for beginning my own channel, and it kind of went from there. I began with the Incubus audio because I'm naturally a shy and introverted person. I'm a very awkward person, bad at communication, so I thought with my first audio I should do something that is easy enough to get into character. Also, beginning with an Incubus was why I was so anxious about, oh my god, 12 people listen to this?
Incubus is actually how I found him.
Yeah, we met through a comment you left on my channel.
I just thought it was really refreshing that this Incubus was like, I had seen Incubi all over YouTube at this point, but every single Incubus audio seemed to play out the same way. It was very much like the stereotypical Incubus you'd be thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like that this one's like, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, he's adorable. I want to listen to like Succubus and Incubus characters. I'm interested in finding characters that are like that because I just find the concept to be interesting. It's just Incubi, Succubi are like vampires. They are by nature motion towards other people. They require other people to sustain themselves. So, well, we'll have this character. His personality is he needs to be motion away from. He doesn't like being around other people. There's a conflict in his very being. Hi, Ruby.
See you, Ruby.
Like Wolf says, I love the little animation of the characters when they talk. It's adorable. Full credit to Alex Ray for very, very kindly putting these together.
Alex Ray did all the good stuff. All of it. It's beautiful.
Still avoiding the Incubus series. Sorry, Jessie is right. It's Incubus kind of got ruined by other ASMR artists, so I'm scared. That's fair. You don't have to listen if you don't want. I try to do something very different to other characters like that. But
it's an introverted Incubus. It's inherently an oxymoron, and it's great. Also, I feel as if we've missed a question.
Have we? Which one?
Sleepy Sandbox asks, just out of curiosity, how do y'all keep yourselves rating/creating content? Not like keep a schedule or anything, but more like keep productivity going.
I just need to create content. Like, that's why I get up in the morning to... LOL, getting up in the morning. That's what I get up out of bed to do. I just have a fundamental need to make content. That's what keeps me going. I just love that.
I've had...
So productivity is always there.
This is why I don't have like a hardened schedule. Because if
schedule.
I force myself to make content when there's no ideas present, if I'm trying, I'm just gonna end up producing slop. It's just gonna be like,
Yeah.
and I've done it where I've sat down and say, "This is a kind of idea," and I go to write the script. I always know when an idea is going to be complete nonsense when I go sit down and write the script, and nothing's happening. Like I'm forcing it, and I'm like, I can't.
Some people can get schedules like
Just
that
not
to
working.
work, but it's that I don't want to start one for the same reason. I don't want to force content. And if people can get a schedule going to post audios at a particular pre-planned time and all that, fair play. That's bloody impressive. I just can't do
Yeah,
that for the
yeah, I
same
can't. I
reason.
don't work that way.
Is there going to be an audio where we finally try to brush Mitch's hair? The challenge shall be complete. I mean, if like
Could happen.
it'll just be like 2 minutes in. He's like, "Hey, why have you stopped?" And the listener's like, "The brush went into the hair and it won't come out. I can't find it."
It's disappeared into the void.
Yeah, it'll be gone forever.
Do you have another question on yours, or do you want me to?
Um, why don't you take one next? I have a handful of other questions written down, but I think your
Okay.
question's next. Go ahead.
The Almighty M asks, which audio did you have the most fun creating? Which was the most challenging? I'll let you go first.
Ooh, most challenging. The Under Shippy audios were tricky to edit because editing wise they were a lot more involved. Because like the glitching effect I added, I did manually in a timeline. I'd like take small snippets of the voice and then duplicate them and then cut out the bit that was copying over, which is very time consuming. Which is kind of why I couldn't get back to a part 3. To voice, Dragon Guy Kai was conceived partly as an idea of like I wanted to try and branch out because I don't really do much voice acting. I'm concentrating more so on the acting side than on the voice side. I want to try and make sure it sounds natural, but I don't really put on much of a voice or an accent or stuff like that outside of what I'm naturally accustomed to. So Kai was kind of my attempt to get out of my comfort zone and do a bit more of a voice. And I don't know that it entirely worked because I feel like his voice was a little bit inconsistent, but his was definitely an attempt to act a bit more. I know there are other audios that are a bit tricky. Oh my god. Okay. In scenes that are more emotional, those are I'm sure you'll agree those are a lot more difficult to
Yeah.
do. So like
Yeah.
Respawn 1 with Kai was quite tricky. The recent Zombie Apocalypse was pretty tricky as well. To try and hit the right emotions. One of the most difficult ones is one of the few audios that I recorded and it never went up. I think I've recorded 3 audios that I've never posted. One was
Forsaken ones.
sorry?
Forsaken ones.
Indeed. The first one was the third audio I ever recorded. These are all way back at the start of the channel. Third audio I ever recorded when I wasn't sure whether I was also going to post to Reddit as well. And it was a audio of like meeting a demon in a cafe. And I recorded it, but I never edited it because this is the only one that was a script written and then posted publicly. I didn't write this script, and because I was starting out, I was like, okay, I'll look at scripts that other people have done, and I thought it would kind of fit, and I thought I did an okay job, and then I went back to script, and 3 or 4 people had already filled it, so I just never edited it. There was another that was an audio where the listener is a cat, not a neko, but a literal cat. I recorded that and just didn't really like the concept anymore. And the third
You and I
one,
did the same thing.
I like that one though, the one that you did.
I don't think anybody wants it.
I do, but I've heard it
I don't
already.
know.
So,
Do you guys want do you guys want a video or an audio, I should say, where a demon tries to possess a human body and ends up being in the cat and it's brushy time?
it's
I don't know. Does anybody want
adorable.
that? It's no. I don't do
Oh, of course you
cute.
did. Yeah, well, I remember now. You said earlier you don't do cute. You should do it. So the one Jesse's saying, by the way, Quill, is the speaker was the cat. But I love the ones where the listener is non-human because they're interesting. But yeah, the third one was an audio where the speaker, I was playing a harpy sort of character who attacks the listener, and it was a very, very dark audio. Like perhaps it might even been darker than Respawn 1. It was similar
Darker than
sort of,
Respawn.
yeah, similar sort of
Jesus.
like themes about death, and it gets really philosophical near the end, and I was happy with it. But it ends with a lot of talking about the concept of death, and the speaker, I was just in tears. The character was crying, really, really conflicted about killing. And it was basically talking about going from a species that kills out of necessity to survive, to becoming a civilized species that is cooperative with others. And the idea was to be in that middle zone where it is starting to cross from one to the other. And I was just crying into the microphone for like a solid 20 minutes, and I acted my heart out, and I was so happy with it. And I listened back, and I was way too close to the mic. So all of this needs to be re-recorded. Like it was not only peaking horribly, it was mainly because even though I had a pop filter, I was too close to the mic that the pop filter just didn't catch it. I was still learning how close you should be to the microphone when doing like quiet
Didn't
whispery
learn the
stuff.
hand rule yet.
Well, I knew that, and that's like how distant I normally was. But I thought, well, I'm whispering. I'm being really, really quiet, so I need to get close to the mic. Too close.
That just means you turn your sensitivity up. You don't get closer.
No, you don't.
Boo, no.
You don't want to turn it up too much because then you get extra grain.
No, not too hard. Not too hard.
No, not too much. Yeah, so that's what I should have done, but I didn't know yet. So I re-recorded it. I recorded the entire sobbing section again, and I was still too close. I think I recorded it a third time and then just gave up and never edited it. I think it still needs to be re-recorded. And I just think I was happy with the character and the script and the idea of it. Looking back at the script, there are things I think I would change because I feel like my style has changed since the start of the channel, but it just took too much out of me emotionally that I don't think I'll ever get to it. I don't think you answered this question, so
No, I did not. That's okay.
your turn.
I think with me, the one that was probably the hardest to edit, like it took a lot out of me. I have one that I'm working on right now that's actually taking a lot out of me. But the one to this day that probably took a lot out of me editing wise was probably the Massive Hunters collab.
Collabs just get
there were so many
tricky
people.
to edit.
There was so many things. The only other one I could think of that like there was a lot of elements to be combined that I was like, oh Jesus. Was the fear demon, just because there's a lot of different elements that come together and have to be
that one was such a good idea, by the way.
Well, I literally got that idea by saying to myself, I want a demon that preys on your worst fears, and I started thinking, well, what are like, it's a good fear to pick one, and then I'm like, but with the listener, it's like it can't apply to everyone. Like some people, like I couldn't pick something like heights because not everybody's afraid of heights. Not everybody cares about like insects or whatever. So I went, let me just pick a bunch of them.
Yeah, it kind of worked because like you're going from like how about this fear? Does this fear do anything? Like Because then the listener can kind of respond, this one not so much. Oh, this one, yes, though.
Yes, actually, this is
Mhm.
horrible. Continue. Um, yeah. But a lot of these, a lot of times I do like a challenge. And the Fear Demon in particular, I got to be really creative with it, and I got to think about like how would this work out, how would this kind of. And again, I'm playing a villain, so I get to be all hammy about it the whole time.
Mhm.
It made me happy.
That was a damn
One of
good
the other
audio.
ones that was also difficult to edit was the like ancient stone with Adam Watson. Shameless plug. Where there was a lot of other like elements that go into it, and whenever you have to do with magic, it's always a lot more complicated because magic is inherently not realistic.
Yeah.
So if you give me realistic sound effects of somebody's walking or someone's putting down a cup or someone's like whatever, those are all sounds you could probably find somewhere because they're sounds that exist in reality. But the second you get into like magical twinkling, I'm like, what does that sound like?
Something I'm
that
struggling
doing?
with in an edit I'm editing right now.
Edit way too many times.
How does this what does this even sound like? What Foley sound am I looking for?
Yeah, no, magic is always a pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
Always a pain in the butt.
I have I have an interesting question that came through not in any of the question things we put up to say, hey, we're doing a stream, ask us stuff. This just came up as a regular comment on Vampire Hunter Part 3.
Oh dear God.
I have a question. This is from Miranda Romo. I have a question for you. What's your relationship with Jessie Love? Jessie's my girlfriend.
Yeah, this one's mine. There are many BAs like him, but this one is mine.
At the time
that's entirely a lie. There's no one like Mage.
The scandal.
Entirely a lie.
At the time of when that particular audio went up, we were just friends at the time. Like even bloody Andrew and Dawn on your channel.
Even when Andrew and John came out, that still wasn't us canonically.
Yeah, that was entirely just like I was going along. Okay, this is the character, and I was just going to do the character as best as I could.
I was nervous sending it to him. I was like, oh, he's gonna say this is like way out of his comfort zone.
No, I was game. I just wanted to do the character, just like as I wanted to treat it as professionally as possible. A relationship before marriage.
Scandalous. Tona said it right the first time.
Yes.
So bad.
So that question came through literally just as this stream started.
Oh my God. That's funny. That's really funny.
I don't even think they know that this stream is going on.
Oh Lord, they'll find out.
Should I go through questions from my server?
Yeah, by all means.
Okay. This is from Lucky Stardust, who is in chat. If nothing's faster than light, how did the dark get there first?
Well, do you have an answer?
If nothing's faster, well, the speed of the expansion of the universe is faster than the speed of light. It's just that matter can't travel faster than the speed of light in a vacuum.
See, no, you don't understand. He'll take this seriously. He'll go off right now.
I did think it's all.
He'll go off right now.
Because dark has no mass. Dark is the absence of light, so that's fair.
We're not scared of the dark. We're scared of the monsters that lie within the shadows.
That sounds
shit like that.
That sounds like a quote.
Probably. I'm hardly the first person to say like we're not scared of the dark. We're scared of what's in the dark.
Hmm.
I did not come up with this revelation.
Vashtinarada. Freckle and Hyde asks, do either of you have acting experience? They have two other questions as well. I don't, other than just on YouTube.
Yeah,
I won't
I've
even
done
call
it all
myself a
online.
dilettante. I'm just having fun.
Yeah, not really. I wouldn't call it acting experience. I have slightly more technical experience than I think Mage does because I've been doing it for longer,
Oh,
but
by
not
far, by
because
far.
like, but not because I've been in anything anybody would know. You can probably look up, like I used to go on casting call club, and I'd be part of like a bunch of what can only be described as nonsense projects. I've been in source filmmaker stuff. I've been in a bunch of random stuff. None of it really means anything. It's all just people's fun projects that I was, happy to help with.
Mhm.
So,
I just
not
have
really.
experience with editing and making videos, mostly sort of narration style documentary kind of speech, but I wouldn't say I have acting experience. I'm there's a question from Lucky Wolf. Adela, what now? Uh, I said a dilettante, a person who cultivates an area of interest, such as the arts, without real commitment or knowledge. So someone who's invested but doesn't know what they're doing. All the gear but no idea, kind of thing.
Kind of a dilettante with our relationship.
It's a good word.
Listen, he's got a lot of this. Okay, he's got a lot of like,
No,
let's come in and nowhere and go, and I'll go, what?
I just like words. Words are interesting. Do you want to play Countdown?
We
Next.
missed a question from Alex.
Oh,
Alex says, "How do you both handle cycling over VA work and real life stuff?"
uh,
I'm in a constant state of stress.
that's content creation for you. Yeah. I mean, the stuff I'm doing for work right now is mainly writing stuff, so I handle it by just saying, "Hey, it might be a while before the next video comes up because I'm out of scripts and I'm busy writing and I can't just keep doing writing." So
He's got a
yeah.
pad on the chair because his butt will get sore because he's constantly writing for both his work and his YouTube channel. So sitting on his butt.
Yeah, a lot of. I have a nice chair though, so it's okay.
It's a nice chair.
Good chair.
A gaming chair.
Uh, yeah, I don't really think of doing VA stuff like the channel stuff as work kind of thing, and you don't really want to do that. You want to take it seriously, sure, but at the end of the day, it's still a hobby. I do it because I enjoy it. I get energy out of doing it. It doesn't really exhaust me the way that doing work and other IRL stuff does. And thankfully, I am able to do my work from home, so I do at least have a bit of time that I wouldn't have if I were commuting or anything like that, which is nice. Um,
Speak for
yeah,
yourself.
yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Jessie's busy bugger.
yeah, no, well, I don't live far from my work. Commute as in walk 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm a cashier, so that means I have like entire shifts that I need to worry about. So there are times where I'll be working, I'll get out of work at X time in the day, and then I'll be tired. And I'm like, I don't have an in me to work on anything channel related today. So
Yeah,
that is one of the reasons if you look at my channel and you see the massive gaps in between like in between uploads, that is usually why. Not to mention that where I live and daylight savings time has basically messed with us real hard. So it means the sun goes down at like 4 p.m.
hmm
So all too often I'll get out of work. There'll be days where I don't see the sun, where I'll go in before the sun rises, and by the time I get out of work, the sun is already on its way down, and that'll really kill your productivity. That'll really is when I
yeah,
get home, I'm like, oh, it's nighttime, even though it's
yeah.
only like 5 p.m. But like, it really has a way of being like, no, keep going. It's like, but no, it's sleepy time.
It's 6 p.m. here. It's already pitch black outside.
Yeah, it's very not great.
Baha, hello, welcome.
Hello.
Also, Kingsley, hi. Um, Another question from Frecklin Hyde.
Rebecca,
Do you like to sing?
I'd like to. I can't.
uh,
I do a lot of things I'm not good at.
I can't, and I I don't know. There's one or two that I enjoy, but only kind of singing to myself. Is the kind of shower singing I don't want people to
Yeah,
hear.
very.
I don't consider
Like that.
myself to be good at
That's what I
singing.
mean.
Mm.
Maybe
And
you
final
said, and
question
I still
from.
have a script in the back of the works. Well, maybe we'll see, guys. I mean, I can force Mage to do a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm not a singer, so I don't know how that will go. I'm game though. Um,
Mhm.
what's something surprising or unexpected you've experienced as VAs? That's the last question from Jekyll and
I met
Hyde.
my boyfriend. That was surprising and unexpected.
Fair. Didn't expect that either.
That was surprising. Honestly, how many people care? And like,
Mm.
see, I'm the kind of person I don't put a lot of faith in the numbers. I don't need the biggest cult following to feel validated. The small amount of people that I have is all I need, and I'm very happy for them. I just, I love you guys.
It's just staggering. It's like you can imagine 100 people in a room going, "Hey, that thing that you do, I like that thing," and that's overwhelming.
Oh yeah.
You have 3.2 thousand subscribers. Can you picture that many people in a room all
If
going,
I had that
"I
many
like
people in
that
my
thing"?
backyard right now, I'd need a shotgun. But besides that fact, like
The
I couldn't
zombie
fit that many people
apocalypse.
in my like. I know I couldn't fit that many people in my backyard. I couldn't.
Yeah, it's just nuts.
Ridiculous. But I love it.
Just yeah, just staggeringly kind of people to like, "Hey, I enjoyed this."
Yeah, the amount of support that I got. I mean, the fact that I had to postpone the stream and I had so many people basically being like, "Hey, feel better. Like, we understand." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
thank you." And I mean, I think that's one of the reasons I like to continue to do this, and I'm very happy to be part of, like, if you could call it a community, to be part of this community, because it is a very open and understanding community. It is a very
Mhm.
accepting community. You know what I mean? And that makes me happy. Oh,
Yeah.
Alex asks, which one of your characters do y'all feel very relatable to, and why?
I'd say probably Incubus because since I started with him, the idea with starting with that character specific, because I had a whole bunch of ideas before I started the channel, uh, was to be a character that is shy and introverted. Um, because I wanted a character that I could try to play around with the idea of acting with, and I didn't know how it would go. So by design, the Incubus was probably based on me more than most of my other characters. Basically, I don't want to say all my characters, but a lot of my characters, whether it's the speaker or whether it's the listener, are kind of based on some aspect of myself. Because it's tricky to write a character just completely out of whole cloth. I like characters with a bit of depth, with weaknesses, uh, with insecurities, and my channel is all about personal insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
I find that makes it interesting, flawed characters that can develop, that can get better, and it's a great way I feel of exploring these insecurities in a safe, healthy environment, and getting to learn them better and learning about yourself and improving. Um, and that's kind of basically what Incubus began as. And with some audios, it's I put more of myself in the listener than I do the speaker. Like
Mm-hmm.
my last audio, the rancher and the royal champion. I played the royal champion. There's none of me in the royal champion. Other than I tried to write a character that was polite and friendly, sure, but that's not me. I wrote myself into the listener character instead.
I think this is gonna sound real saccharine. It's gonna sound real like, are you serious? But yeah, probably Dawn. Because she
Oh.
likes video game and is obsessed with Nintendo and is also dating a British vampire hunter. I mean, what else do you want? Uh, honestly, I have a lot more fun, and I think it's more enjoyable to me to as a writer, not just a voice actor, but as a writer, to essentially put myself in situations that I would never be in. To go, well, I wouldn't act like that. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that. But isn't that the interesting part? So pretty much a lot of my characters have nothing to do with me. I mean, have you seen the Pharaoh Vampire? And again, I suppose that's not my character.
It's yours.
But, like, I find it interesting. Kind of. She became me. So many people. She's not referred to as the Vampire Hunter or as the Pharaoh Vampire. She's referred to as it's Jessie. I'm like, yeah, yeah. Oh, Lucky Wolf asked, when you guys collab, do you record lines in a voice chat or do you guys record lines separately? We record them separately.
I can't record lines when people are listening. I need to be by myself.
Yeah,
I think that's the way that most people do. By the way, was that Discord or was there a big squeak that came from your mic just then?
That might have. I don't think that was Discord. I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't personally squeak.
Okay.
I would have owned it up to that.
I don't know if that just came through on Discord and maybe didn't. Sorry if that picked up on the stream. I don't know what that Discord. Actually, if it did come through the Discord codec messing up for a brief second because the internet, that would actually come through on the stream. Sorry.
Whoops.
Yeah, I thought I'd call it out because if you reference things like that go wrong, you're hanging a lance on it, and then that makes it more forgivable. That's a little trick. But now I'm calling that out as well, so now everyone's got like, hang on. Sorry, what was the question again? When you go, yeah, it had just gone to the top of the chat. It went too far off the top of the screen. Yeah.
We all record our lines separate.
Yeah. It's just a better way of getting cleaner audio. Otherwise, you need to be careful that
which
Discord
makes things
isn't picking
like
up
the
in the
entire Hunter
recording.
series really difficult because I have to ask everybody to give them their lines. Usually, if it's like, it depends on who's doing the audio. So for my Hunter's audio, for example, for Andrew and Dawn, I basically sent the script to Mage. Mage sent me all of Andrew's audio, and then I did all of the editing. For something like Feral Vampire, which was Mage's audio, I did all of my lines and sent them off to him. So it all depends on who's in control of the audio that does all the editing. So
yeah.
Will there ever be a face reveal? We've both basically shown our faces on Discord before.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever post my face to the channel, but yeah, I've shown what I look like in there. You too.
Let's just say, for the record, guys, there's a lot of Mitch in him.
I'm a bit
long
taller
hair,
than
fuzzy
Mitch.
boy. There it is.
I do have a ponytail.
The only thing that he does not have that Mitch has is that Mitch is ridiculously short. He is not.
I'm a little bit taller.
He towers over me.
Paha does say from the previous question, some of the smallest channels I follow do the best stuff. Mass appeal isn't always the best. I really enjoy it. Thank you so much. I also agree. There are some small channels that just do really, really cool stuff that just need way more views. Some of those channels are in chat. Hey Alex. Hey M.
Yeah. Gonna link y'all.
Do you want to?
I see you.
Do you have? We'll go with Alex's question. What was the first audios you watched from each other?
Incubus.
Bridget 1, Wounded Vampire 1.
Oh my god.
I was a fan of Jessie's before we spoke.
I remember being astonished by that.
Yeah.
Hey, Buns is a really good artist. Buns, I see you.
Buns is an amazing artist and scriptwriter.
Buns, I see you.
Don't think we don't. Also, Quinn Starkwell has started audios recently as well. Very, very good stuff.
I perceive you.
I just imagine Mitch's snort laugh is just too cute.
Oh.
I don't really have a snort laugh myself, but I just thought that was one of those cute but slightly not cute things I thought would work quite well for Mitch.
Kind of like eating grapes.
That's just become weirdly associated with Mitch when it was the wounded elf that ate grapes. Because there are
I know.
gifs of raccoons eating grapes.
I was gonna say it's because there's gifs where raccoons are eating grapes, so it
Yeah.
just fit. Always JMB asks, what are your future goals with your content and or your channel?
JMB, hello.
Hello.
Future goals from the channel? Do you want to go first?
Well, I guess mine would be real simple. Just, keep making the content I like. Keep going. Just
Same.
meet awesome people like you guys. Keep it going. I'm gonna start doing sorry, Mage and I are gonna start streaming video games from the channel at some point.
That's gonna be fun.
So if you would like more of this dynamic, if you like more of this nonsense, you'll get it as we play video games.
Take care, Lucky Wolf.
Hello,
Thanks for
Christian.
dropping by. Hey, Christian. Yeah, basically the same. I just enjoy making content. I just want to make the best content that I can. That's really it. Just more of the same, and I just hope people enjoy it. I'm thankful.
Oh wait,
this
one's real simple. This one's real simple.
Go
Mine asks, do you do your stuff on Windows, Linux, or Mac?
I record on PC. I need a pretty decent PC, but I have an old and very weary Macintosh that I edit on, because my editing software of choice is Final Cut, which obviously doesn't run on PC. So I'm kind of stuck.
This is incorrect.
I like PC. I like Mac, but there's just a few too many design issues with, like, why did they do it this way? What is Apple doing? It's just annoying to have to deal with Apple. But the actual layout, the way that the OS is set up is quite tasty, and I just adore Final Cut. That is my tool. So I'm kind of stuck with Mac. Problem is, this computer is like 2013. It wants to die, and I can't let it because they're expensive.
I'm Windows, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I have no fun story. It's just Windows. I just have a laptop. Here you
go. Question from Starkwill. It's a slow, long one, so I'll try and reduce it down a little bit. It's another thing that YouTube doesn't like ASM artists, even if they have a super clean channel. You never know when you're going to get told, we discovered inappropriate content in your channel, you're demonetized unless you remove the vid or something like that. I don't know how it actually works, but I've seen this happen to so many good VAs. Do you know of a reason maybe why this happens to them? Something a normal viewer wouldn't see, or something that Great Spouts missed that may have accidentally come across as sus? I hope this never happens to you, but if it did, do you guys have a backup plan as well? No, don't apologise. It's a good... Night Buns! Thanks for dropping by. Bye, have a good one. Hunter Ray, hello, welcome. Jelabini, take care.
Have a good one, Jelabini.
Yeah, YouTube just thinks that... So, under YouTube, audio roleplay is audio drama, which is kind of what we're in, is considered to be a subset of the ASMR umbrella. And YouTube seems to consider anything ASMR that isn't the most basic form of just like tapping things and making sandwiches and stuff. Anything outside of that but labeled as ASMR, YouTube just thinks is sex content. And it doesn't matter what the actual content is. If you don't have a camera on and you're talking quietly into a mic, YouTube just goes, that's sex. So
it's kinky. We can't have that here. So
that appears to be why clean channels get taken down and have such a difficult time of it. I don't have a backup channel. I do have the Discord server, and Jessie has her own Discord server as well. Mm-hmm. So when my channel was hit with false copyright claims in the summer, I basically reverted to Discord to explaining what's going on, and on Twitter as well. But we can't really rely on Twitter at this point. just
No,
too
no.
unreliable. So yeah,
And the
backup
worst
is
case scenario that I can think of is going to my Discord server and just uploading the raw audio there
mhm.
instead
I
of making it like video, just uploading the audio.
mhm.
Which I don't want
Uh,
to do, but if it ever happened, I would.
so I guess the backup thing, rather than having a backup account, we both have our Discord servers. You have you just at everyone with like very important announcements. I've got my alerts role that you can get from the rules and roles channel. So anything important gets announced there. Kingsley is correct. I have my audios on Spotify and other podcast platforms as well. So magebunkshelf.card.co has all my links if you want to follow on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever.
That's why another thing that I do is I do actually make explicit content every now and then, but it's Patreon exclusive, which you can find a link to all over my YouTube channel. So if you did want to see something like that, it exists.
Yeah, 18 plus only.
But over there, yeah.
Uh, there are certain keywords that I think are generally good to avoid on YouTube, even if you're just doing clean content. There appears to be a problem with, especially the word yandere, which is why I tried not to have that words in the yandere ship AI apart from just in the thumbnail itself in like in the image. There are certain tags that have a bad association, so you could do a perfectly safe for work yandere character, even a character that isn't just completely off their rocker, and YouTube will still go, suspicious. So even if you're doing a yandere character, be careful about using that word, because it appears there are certain tags that Obi, welcome. There are certain tags that just appear to get flagged in the system.
Yeah.
This question is from Hunter Ray. How are y'all?
I am fantastic.
I'm doing good as well.
Christian asks, how long do you need for writing an ASMR script? Depends on the script. I've had ideas that just pop in my brain, and I'm like, yeah, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and I can write a script in an hour. I've had scripts that I've struggled with that I just had to pause and come back to maybe the next day, and it really does depend on the script.
Yeah, I've there are some scripts that might take me just a few days. I'm a slower writer. My brain isn't that good at language in general, and also I do writing for work as well. So I try not to burn myself out on writing too much all at once. Some scripts do take a much longer time. It's like the script that I finished last night took me the last 2 days to write, but I've been sitting on that script for like 2 months trying to figure out where I wanted to. Well, I knew where I wanted to go, but I just couldn't get the words down. Sometimes the script just baffles me. The script for Respawn 1, I wrote that before Mitch 1 came out, even though it was like 7 or 8 months removed from when Respawn 1 and Mitch 1 came out. Respawn 1 was written first. But there was a part near the end of the script that I just couldn't figure out how to wrap up the emotional scenes near the end. So I just had to take a break on that script for several months. And
Oftentimes
sometimes,
do where I'll write a script and then think to myself, wait, can I actually do that? Like certain sound effects and things like that, I go, wait, that makes sense from a writing standpoint, but can I actually make that happen? And I've had to cut things or change things out of scripts knowing I'm not gonna be able to pull that off. I'm not gonna be able to make how the hell am I doing this X, Y, Z? So I've had to like go back and go, I should change it like this. If you all saw the recent Cinderay Werewolf audio where they watch a horror movie, my original plan was to have like real, low, put a shimmy a low pass filter on that so it's all muffled. But was originally to play some of the actual Dracula movie in the background to really like emphasize that. And I didn't end up doing it because YouTube says no.
the problem is it had very well-known music. So even if the film is in, even if the film or the original music is in the public domain, there are covers of the song which won't be, and you could easily get flagged for that. Like,
Yeah, I'm
music
like,
is very finicky.
it was just
Yeah,
easier to just not have it at all than to,
yeah.
put it on and then hope it wasn't going to get taken down.
It could have been fun
Also,
to be like, hey, let's just reenact the scenes and play that in the background. So it's the same scene from Dracula, but not audio from the film. But then that would have taken way
yeah.
too long to make last minute.
Yeah, I was like, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Also, Hunter, to answer your question, soon more werewolf, I promise.
Heck yeah. That last Sunday Werewolf audio was so good.
Mm.
I love that audio.
I I have plans.
Hmm.
Don't
Uh,
worry.
do you
It's
have
coming
any?
back.
Do you have any further questions?
Um,
I have a handful.
I can't say his actual name on the thing because I'm gonna get demonetized. I'm not monetized. Um, but Blue asks, favorite music to listen to.
Frank Lepaki. The
Shocking.
he's my favorite artist of all time. Frank Lepaki did the music for Westwood Studios, so the old Command and Conquer games. He did the Dune RTSs and Command and Conquer from Tib Dawn through to Renegade, and then extra stuff for Red Alert 3 and Uprising. Phenomenal soundtrack for the recent remasters as well. My all-time favorite artist does his signature sort of genres of rocktronic and industro funk is just delightful.
Mm. Me, I don't really have like a real specific genre, I guess, if you will. There's not a single genre of music that I could say I hate. Um, I have a lot of different. I listen to a lot of soundtrack stuff from a lot of animes, a lot of OSTs from animes that I like. What do you call it? It really just depends on the mood I'm in.
Mhm.
But a lot of rock, a lot of metal, even pop. I don't hate pop. Um, just it depends. Depends
Mhm.
on my mood.
Heck yeah.
I like that a lot of people pointed out that in it was the second, yeah, it was the second Bridget audio that a lot of people pointed out that I am humming a Five Nights at Freddy fan song, and I was like, yeah.
uh,
So I like that a lot of people pointed that out.
no one yet has pointed out the music that Aru the Kitsune was humming in Kitsune 1. Speaking of Frank Lepaki,
Stuff is so niche.
it's a bit niche, yeah. It's good, but it's
I like it,
niche.
but like, it's niche.
That was a cool tweet a while back of Mick Gordon from who did the soundtrack for Doom.
Mhm.
Um, was shouting out Frank's stuff as being something that he listens to. So, oh, that's cool. This stuff from 25 years ago, and this world renowned artist is tweeting about how good it is. That made me happy.
Music from Command and Conquer is pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that one song, but I don't know.
yeah, that one, you know.
Yeah, that one. Well, I remember watching the thing with you and being like, "Wait, that's where that's from?" Not like an idiot going, "Oh, that was the Command and Conquer thing." And you're like, "Yeah, of course it is. It's one of the most well-known soundtracks." And I'm like, "I didn't know. I didn't know." And that actually made me feel kind of happy because I was like, "Wow, I actually like this song, and now we both like this song. I know a song from the thing that you know."
Was that a Hell March from the memes?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. I remember watching that cinematic, and I was watching it for you, and I was like, "Wait, this is where that came from." Oh my god, it's so
Westwood
funny.
Games really had good music back then. They seriously did. So good. I have a couple of albums signed from Frank. Oh my god, work. Not to dox what I do for work, but I've been writing for a game that I didn't go to this event not too long ago, but Frank was there, and there's a picture of people that I work with Frank, and I wasn't able to go, but yeah, he seems interested in our game. That's so exciting.
Oh, let's see how that
Um,
goes.
So
A game.
from Lucky, who's left, I believe, didn't they?
I think so.
Sorry, Lucky.
Disappointing.
We got to your questions. Have you two thought of making a universe ASMR as partnership, like making your own AU as a couple? Not really
You mean Dawn and Andrew?
us, like, because there's Dawn and Andrew, but they're fictional characters that started as their own characters, and especially Dawn and Andrew 1 was before we were a thing anyway. So
Yeah.
they're not really based on us. Like part 2, we started to put in a bit of ourselves into the characters just for fun, but they're ultimately not us.
Yeah, no. For one thing, he basically like plays nothing but like Andrew plays nothing but what a lot of PC gaming and everything like that, which you do play, but not religiously.
Yeah, not exclusively, and I'm also not the kind of person to go like, oh, the games are crap. These are the only good
And
ones.
it's funny because one of the things that Andrew does constantly is that he constantly basically shits on Dawn for selling her Sony to Nintendo, which like, you know how many times him and I have been like, we should play Mario Party. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, I want to play, but you need to move stuff away from your TV.
Listen, I gotta clean my room. That's another in real life thing I need to be working on.
But yeah, an audio based on us, I'm not really sure about that because I like.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I feel like we need to start with like character and scenario first, and then dig through from there, rather than this is the character. What can we do with them?
Like that would be something. It would be cute for like the 6 of them, like the 6 audience members that know, but like. It's one of those things I would have to think about. Is like, well, will the general audience really want to watch this kind of thing?
Yeah, and like what
It
else?
would feel like a shameless thing for us.
That's fair. Yeah, and what else is going on in it? Because if it's just like the draw is self inserts, is that really a draw to begin with?
It's a draw for us. It's not necessarily a draw for everybody else. It got to the point too where I was making sure that I wasn't putting Mage in every single audio I did because I easily could have, because it would feel very like favoritist. Feel very like, well, he's
Yeah.
my orphans. I'm gonna shove him in everything I do.
We're both
No,
trying
to
to be
part of everything.
we're both talking about trying to be conscious of that. We don't want to just like every collab. We don't want to just force collabs now because like, hey, I want to be in audios because I do want to be in audios with you, but also we need to be in audios for a reason that fits the characters, fits the scene. Otherwise, it just feel forced and self-inserty, which isn't fun really. Other than
We
for
had
the
joked
people
about the
making
idea of Mage replacing the VA that did Cinderella Werewolf's dad, and I go, well, that doesn't work. How can you be my dad? You're British.
Yeah.
Insert daddy joke here.
No.
No.
Second question is, what is your favorite thing to do together? I just like talking. We just talk for
Yeah,
hours.
we talk a lot.
Yeah.
We talk a lot. And because he's all the way in the Yukon, I'm really limited on what we can do together.
We're pretty distant, and the things like we're like, hey, we've been talking for 3 hours. Should we wrap up the conversation soon? Yeah, we should probably wrap up. 4 hours later.
Hey, we said we were gonna wrap up. Damn.
Mage is definitely ours. You brought that up, not
clearly.
me. If you two were a species in the My Little Pony world, what would you be?
I'm gonna be I'm gonna aggravate everybody in the chat right now and say I'd be an alicorn. Dream big. Dream big. But if you want me to pick one of like the 3 main races, I guess I'd be a Pegasus.
Not like the bat-winged ones?
Maybe Batwing. But like typical pony, then Pegasus. No, I'd be a what is it? Oh god, it's been so long since I watched the show.
Changeling?
Yeah, sea pony.
Oh, see, I'm not familiar. But fair
Yeah,
enough.
see, this one stopped watching when like Chrysalis was a thing, so.
Yeah, I kind of dropped off around when Lauren Faust left. So it's been a very long time. Everyone did their time in that fandom. Let's be honest. I was on the internet. I kind of feel like maybe Unicorn would be a decent fit, but like you can't go wrong.
Yes, Rebecca, Hippogriff. Thank you. That is what I was talking about.
Ooh.
I blanked. I blanked real hard.
Also from Lucky, Jessie, do you play Minecraft? 3 question marks. Oh whoa.
No, I do not.
But are you interested?
I have a life. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
I used
No,
to play.
I don't play, and I'm not really interested in playing.
Fair enough. I used to play a lot of hardcore Minecraft with some friends, which is where like if you die, then that's your one life. We played a modded world where we went to Mars without dying. We were quite impressed with that. So now I'm just used to playing Minecraft in hard mode. And over at my server, if you go through the card.co below my name, we have a Minecraft server in my Discord. And I have annoyed a few people by setting that server to hard mode. Not hardcore, just regular hard. But I think most people play on lower difficulties, and I'm just used to that because it's not really a challenge anymore.
Yeah, this one over here has got to be like a elitist when it comes to
So
Adam. Okay,
Adam!
I have to shamelessly plug real quick, guys. It's Adam Watson. He's the voice of Alexander and the really magical special rock. He rocks, man.
Heck yeah, Adam's awesome.
I'm bad. We stan Adam in this house. Everyone show
Yeah.
Adam love. We show Adam love in this house.
Heck yeah.
The other Brit. We laugh because this one's over here from the Midlands and Adam's a northerner, so like
From the Midlands, you twonk.
I'm gonna hear about that later.
Do you have any further questions on your side? Also, any questions in chat? Go for it.
Kiwi asks, chocolate or coffee?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
I'm not really a fan of coffee. I drink a lot of tea
Same.
though.
I drink a lot of Pepsi. Kind of a problem.
You need to drink a little less Pepsi.
Adam
You
doesn't
do
have
drink
his
a lot of
own
water.
YouTube channel, so otherwise I would link his thing to you, Rebecca. But you know. Also, hello, Kieran. Oh, now there's 2 Kieran eyes in that. Oh God, you two must fight to the death. Decide who is going to be on top. Like on the top of the chat. I mean, that sounded like a bad joke. Like I was talking about like.
No filter.
I didn't mean it. Not like that. Not like that. Not like that. Not like that.
Obi's like, coffee! Like, yeah.
Of course you are, Obi. Of course you
are. Do you have any further questions? Oh, wait, you just asked one.
Christian asked if we were going to do more live streams. Well, does this answer your question?
Yeah, it'll be fun to do some gaming stuff on this channel if you game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're going to do gaming stuff.
Yeah. I'd like to start streaming on my channel as well, or maybe branch over to Twitch, but I'm a little ways off from doing that, so we'll dabble with streaming to this channel. Tea, yes, tea. I need more tea. I'm out of tea.
Oh, great! Now the 2 Brits are gonna help me. Great. I can't put these 2 in a room together.
There'll be no tea left. Question from Starquill. How do you pick themes for your videos, apart from things like Vampire's Listener or Comfort, Confession, etc.? Themes like how Mitch's theme is being loved for who you are. I think having a deeper theme and depth in audio really makes a big difference. Any more thoughts on this? That's a great question. So I kind of start with like character, scenario, stuff like that to begin with. Because like Mitch, like I said earlier, began with basically being a bit like a redo of Foxboy. Like I was asked recently, like, would I ever do reboots or start a story over fresh? And probably not. I would do if I liked the idea and wanted to try it again, I would do a soft reboot the same way I did with Wild Foxboy and then Mitch, where it's a similar sort of theme, but it's a distinct character, a distinct setting and stuff like that. So I'll kind of start with the idea. That one started with it's a soft boy character who doesn't have a home, who breaks in because he's hungry and it's raining. And I start with the basic idea with that, and as I write, as I go through the plan of the story, I try and think what themes are natural to this. What story is this telling? What's the subtext, and especially like what the characters are thinking. So for part one of the Vampire Hunter, for instance, it just started with a scenario of you're a vampire being interrogated by a hunter, but the hunter isn't unreasonable. The hunter will hear you out. And I was halfway through the script when I recognized that the overarching theme was trust. And so I just started to go with that as the theme for that. And for Mitch, it very naturally came from, this is a character who has been told he's a trash panda all his life. He's never had a home. He's never had a family, or he's never belonged anywhere. And this is one of the things that stems naturally from him being a raccoon that doesn't really work with wild foxboy, because foxes they're still wild animals. They are somewhat disliked for rummaging through rubbish and all that, but raccoons have more of a notoriety as bandits, as thieves, things like that, and as trash pandas. And that's got to be quite a drag on his psyche. So his theme of learning to be loved kind of stemmed from, like, I started with the concept of, this is a raccoon character. What's the most natural way to progress with that? So yeah, work out the theme as it starts to develop. I'll just try to pay attention to what story the subtext is naturally trying to tell. And I either lean into that if it makes sense, or if it's telling some subtext that I don't want, then that means I need to rewrite it. I need to play with it so that it is not going down a route that I don't want it to go. Like, one of my IRL friends pointed out, oh god, my IRL friends found the channel.
Oh dear God, over now.
For my Neko listener, where, if you haven't heard that one, the speaker is just a regular human, and the listener is they're just roommates, they're just friends. Because I like doing platonic ones. No, it's platonic. A lot of my stuff's just platonic because there's a lot of romance, and I just like friendly stuff. Doesn't mean I don't do romance. It's just not the main thing for the channel.
He does romance, just with me.
On your channel, yeah. Andrew
Yeah,
and Dawn. But that started as the idea of, I like interesting listener characters. It just purely started from the concept of, I like listening to stories where it's the listener that's the interesting one. There's too many audios where the speaker is the interesting one because you're like, oh, I'll do a Neko character, and then your first thought is, how will this character sound? How will I write it? How will I act it? But it helps to think about, it's cool to be that character, so let's have the listener have a chance. The trade-off is, if you only did listener characters of the interesting ones, they become a little more forgettable because they have to be a bit vague. So you'd never have a memorable character like Mitch. Hi, Bubble, welcome.
Hello, Bubble.
But it's fun sometimes to have the listener be the non-human, the listener be the interesting one, and that was the entire concept that started off the Neko listener. But the story that it was naturally telling, the theme that naturally stemmed from that, was, this is a coming out story. That's not what was intended, but I liked where it was going, and I liked that it was, I wanted it to feel respectful to that theme. The idea wasn't, I wasn't starting with, I'll tell a story that's an analogy. I'll tell a story that has a moral or anything like that. But once I figured out that's absolutely the theme that the story is naturally telling, regardless of my intent, in that instance, I wanted to lean into it. If the theme that a story is starting to tell isn't a good theme, isn't something that you want, that means that you need to rewrite your story a bit. I can't think of a good example of one that comes to mind from any of my audience.
Oh, there's plenty of times where this is not a good theme that I've done it, but for me, I've done theming where, like I said, I'm not afraid to kill my listener. But I get into that for the same reason that people like watching horror movies. Because it can be an interesting experience that at the end of the day you get to walk away from.
Yeah.
Like, nothing bad actually happens, you're fine. There were times where I didn't plan a theme, but it happened anyway. Like I think the most notable example um was my anxious world, and I had a couple people say, oh, it's very much the epitome of if you're with someone, they should love you for who you are, you know, flaws and all. They should love you for who you are, and you should love yourself. I was like, I didn't write that with that theme in mind,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a bad theme to take out of it anyway. Like, you know, yeah, that's fine. Um, and with Bridget, the theming there is a lot of like letting going the past and ultimately forgiveness. Bridget basically kind of has a lot of self-loathing for the things she had to do to survive. She, you know, basically was forced to kill someone, and that kind of thing has basically stuck with her entire life. Um, and it's hard for her because she doesn't always have, like, just as she's starting to essentially get better with that, there's Adam to show up and basically wreck it and remind her that, like, no, it's not gone yet. She's constantly paranoid. Um, but it's a lot of like self-forgiveness and stop with the self-loathing and listen, it's not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them are ones where thematically it doesn't always, I didn't always write it with a theme in mind. A lot of times these themes just kind of come from it, and I'm fine with that, but I didn't necessarily write it with that kind of thing in mind. Usually it's just kind of a vibe. It's what do I want you to take out of it? What do I
Mm-hmm.
want you to feel when you're listening to it? Um, but it's not always a feel good time.
and that's
Good
fine.
Cindery World.
Like,
That's pain.
yeah, because there's a lot you can learn from things like that, and it makes for very interesting characters. I feel that it's very important to take into account and keep in mind what the themes naturally are, like what it is that the story is telling, even if you aren't. Um, but it's very difficult to begin with the theme. It's better to start with like character and scenario that's interesting, and then dig into that and see why is it interesting and what is it telling. And I think this is why the direction that you went with for the Yandere character is why it works. Uh, because you looked at the themes of the story, the underlying subtext that is being told of a Yandere. This is creepy. These are creepy characters, and it should be treated as such.
Yeah, this is not a good time. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like it. I think it should not be a good time. Also, I thought I was going to end up on a watch list when I was researching for that video because I had
Yeah.
to look up how can you make chloroform, and then I was like, swear it's for research
the it's
because I
not
didn't know is chloroform something you could just get. I don't think it was something you
yeah.
could just get.
How
But I
to
was like,
buy
how do you get it?
chloroform?
I was like,
Brackets. I'm
oh.
writing this for an audio, and type that into Google.
Listen, I feel like I'm already on somebody's list with all the sound effects I've had to look up over the years.
Mm-hmm.
From screaming to stabbing to chains to electrocution, like, oh, we're having a great time.
The chains bracelet that you have that you used for the vampire audios is really sounds effective.
Wait, 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 wait.
Like before you
Oh,
said how this foley was made, it just sounded really effective.
hey guys, hey guys, hey guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, this is a bracelet that is broken, but it made for a really good, like, really good. I was playing with it. I was like, oh, this will work.
Mm-hmm. It was just
And it
slowed
did.
down and it sounds a lot heavier.
Oh yeah. Oh, I pitch shifted it.
Mm-hmm. And because it's not just like one short bit of sound effect taken from the internet. You're able to pace it out for the entire audio and get it to respond while the characters were talking. It sounded so effective.
I loved it. Um,
The
I was going to
go-to with
ask for y'all
themes,
V.
just before we move on, the go-to with themes, I can't think of a good example, but there was a game like 10 years ago, some Tom Clancy post-apocalyptic game, and the theme that was being told by the game wasn't something that the designers were intending, because you're supposed to be playing as some defender of the state against these ragtag bad guys. But all the quote unquote bad guys, they're not seen doing bad stuff. They just appear to be people in hoodies who are just trying to survive on the streets, and this starts to tell the theme of you being a representative of a violent dictatorship that is trying to suppress an uprising of people that are trying to get a better life. That's not the story that was written. That's not the story that the designers intended. But that's the story that, via the subtext, the themes of the game were telling. The designers didn't intend it. That's not what they meant. But the themes still say. This is kind of my understanding of Death of the Author. The story is still it still tells a story even if you're not. So you need to be careful that what the story intends, thematic wise, is in tying with what you mean, or at least that if you have it open for interpretation, it's not telling a story that you don't want it to tell.
Well, it's one of the reasons I like with the Cinderay world, for example, I very quickly put a lot of disclaimers on that, because although we're talking about supernatural creatures, it's a lot of werewolves and things like that, so people can't necessarily relate to that. She does talk about themes of, parental issues and themes of abuse and negligence, and that is something a lot of people can relate to, and not necessarily in a good way. So I wanted to make sure I properly said, guys, we're talking about this.
It's fictionalized as a werewolf being part of a oppressive pack, but the theme can very, very easily be read into it, and reasonably so. That it's a story about parental issues, and
I think a lot of
you don't really set out to like, this is the theme that I want to tell. You set out with I want to tell a werewolf story, but it's just important to keep in mind what the themes are being told by the setup, and you can lean into it, or you can just keep it in mind. The important thing is, like, is this telling a theme that I don't want it to tell?
Yeah. See, with me, I think a lot of people are nervous about talking about bad theming. They say, well, I can't talk about anything that would relate to reality, that people would, that it could be potentially triggering. But a lot of really good stories talk about things that are ultimately triggering. And when it comes to just life in general, you're not going to really be able to tell any story with any kind of depth to it without it affecting someone somewhere somehow.
This is kind of
But
what...
I think as VAs, we're responsible for that. So it's our responsibility to put disclaimers out there and to say, hey guys, listen, it's totally fine if you don't want to watch this, because I also don't want to trigger you. But I'm not going to, like, this is a story I wanted to tell, and I wanted to tell it my way. So I said, I'm going to. But I also don't want to hurt my audience. Like, if this is something you're willing to take on, come on this journey with me. If not, that's totally reasonable.
I feel like Redacted, who I don't listen to too much of, I know you do, is kind of like the gold standard for responsible content warnings. Really, really goes out of his way to make sure, like, these are the themes I'm going to be discussing. Even to the point of...
You can have darker theme and all, like, theming, but, like, you just got to be responsible with it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Respawn. I was not ready for that.
I was
not properly warned.
I was feeling really concerned while I was editing. I was like, I knew from the start I needed a content warning, but I was like, a lot of people like me will just, like, start listening on their phone while in bed and, like, turn the screen away from them or turn the screen off or whatever, and then just miss the text warning at the start. So that's why I had a verbal warning at the start as well. But that, like, digging into themes like that, I go into kind of... I don't plumb the depths of dark feelings, but this is kind of what I mean by my channel being about insecurities. I want to explore these kind of things. I want to look at the things that I am insecure about, that I'm worried about, that I'm not happy about with myself, about how my mind works. And I want to dig into them and understand why, because that's I feel how we get better. And it's just to explore
it's
it
therapeutic
in a
for us as writers.
yeah, and if it helps for people listening as well, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much, both of you. And also, that was a phenomenal question.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I like that question. I have questions.
You're about to ask Alex's question. What's your favorite
Yes.
universe you two built for any characters? Speaking of the answers in chat, Respawn.
Yeah,
I've got so much
mine's...
planned for that. I've had Respawn
I'm
planned
excited for it.
in various forms for like 5 or 6 years.
Me, it's probably the Hunter series that I got going on because that ties a lot of them together. The Hunter series encompasses Bridget. It encompasses Dawn and Andrew. It's probably the biggest universe I have on my channel thus far. And I'm excited to see where we go from here. I say, knowing exactly where we're going from here.
Very exciting. Yeah, your
Hello,
Vampireverse. Midnight, welcome. I've given your we're calling it the Vampireverse.
I'm uncreative when it comes to like not uncreative. I can't even speak correctly. I'm not very creative when it comes to like naming things like that.
Nice, like just call it your Vampireverse. That's a fine name.
There's too many characters involved to like stick it to like, oh, it's Bridget's universe or like there's too much going on.
It's like Bridget's sub story essentially.
Kinda. Alexander's redemption. Yes, I see you, Adam. We're getting there.
That, I believe, is all the questions I have written down. I don't know if you have any also written down still, but we can throw it over to live chat.
No, we are up to date.
Okie
So
doke.
yeah, hit us with anything.
We've been streaming for 1 hour and 45 minutes, by the way. Remember when we were planning this, going, should we see if we can get to an hour?
Yeah, maybe we'll get to an hour. We'll see what happens.
This is stormed by.
This is just you and me in a voice chat again. This is what happens.
Pretty much.
And then we'll say we should head out, and then another hour will pass.
This is why I'm excited to do like game streams on this channel as well. Also, I've actually enjoyed it.
If you want us to do it around this kind of time in the future, that's good to know.
Most complicated storyline we wrote up together, so like one that we both worked on.
Raban was something that we basically wrote together.
That's true,
Bridget
yeah.
Audio.
We did at least have the caveat that because our vampire laws are incompatible, we did start with we'll be respectful to both laws, but it's going to be non-canon, so we don't need to worry too much about it.
Because like there are certain what was the biggest one? I think because like in my universe, there's things like I basically said that vampires can't eat human food. I think Raban can. Or something like that.
They don't get anything from it. I think vampires can. They can eat a bit. It just doesn't do any good. It's just kind of like a waste.
Value.
Yeah. There are differences like how vampires work. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but we were just like, yeah, this can't be canon. But I would like to incorporate. I have plans to incorporate it in the future into like Old Vampire Part 3 as like something that Raban references back to, even if it's non-canon.
It's a dream I once had.
Yeah, even though it isn't a canonical scene, Bridget doesn't exist in that universe, in Mitch's world. I still want that non-canon audio to have value in like character development. I have a plan for that.
Yes.
I think I'm not really. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying. Yeah, I'm not a writer for your Vampireverse stuff, but you do sometimes like, hey, what do you think of this? And some of the
as writers, we bounce stuff out like off each other a lot.
Some of the stuff that you have planned that I guess we won't go into that I've had some small input on. I'd say that's probably the more complicated stuff because there's a lot of interconnected characters.
Let's ask me again in like a month or so, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's about to get heavy.
Righto.
Soon.
I don't want to force questions. Just like keep the stream going. We've been going for nearly 2 hours. If anyone has any last questions before we wrap up, but this has been a fantastic stream.
Yeah,
I've had fun doing this.
Yeah. We'll do it again. Don't worry, guys. If you think of questions later on and go, shit, why didn't I ask that? We'll do it again.
Or like another Q&A in a few months.
Or even just a hangout stream.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Chill. Just hang out with us. We're all friends here.
Heck yeah.
By the way, Alex, does it make you happy to see your little things moving about? Is that making you happy? It looks so good, Alex. I'm so happy with you.
Thank you, Alex. But cheers, Bubble. It's good to see you. Yeah.
It's making me so thirsty, by the way. Oh yeah, I got.
No, I told you I'm out of tea. I need to go get something to drink.
You're out of tea. Oh god, it runs through his bloodstream. One of these days we should make a vampire audio where the vampire just bites the Brit, and it's like, huh.
There's no blood in this blood.
It's just straight tea. Like, what is this? And he's sitting there like, well, what do you expect?
Tea man. Yeah, I've got nothing else.
I thought of a joke saying, "Oh, his power is teabagging," and then I was like, "No wait."
That means something else.
Oh wait, that's not his thing.
Ooh, yes. Yorkshire. Taste of the North. Oh, sorry. Taste of North. There you go.
Oh, North.
Yeah, you can't have the word the. The word the doesn't exist. Oop North. Going up to road, got down to pit. One at crossbeam has gone out askew on treadle. I don't understand what you're saying.
I don't think you understand what you're saying.
One of the crossbeams has gone out of askew on the treadle. Well, what on earth does that mean? I don't know. I'm just quoting Monty Python at this point. Earl Grey tea, sweetened with honey and a splash of scotch. Ooh.
You were like, my British senses are tingling. And ooh.
This has just turned into just a regular voice call between us at this point.
Yeah, at this point, you're all just hanging out with us in a voice call.
This has been fun.
You know what? I'll answer a stupid question. My favorite color is purple, and I'm a Virgo. There.
Blue and Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Yeah.
See, that's how we know we're so compatible, because you're a Scorpio.
And because of the Brotherhood of Nod. Kane lives in death.
Oh my god.
Compatibility dropping.
You can't mention death. Merch for the future.
You were always a GDI, I knew it.
Oh, god. Are you gonna have merch in the future?
I want to have merch in the future. Yeah, I have another chance to go through and set it up yet. I've only just set up like the coffee and channel memberships, but yeah, merch would be a lot of fun.
I see that shirt that he's wearing. We're just gonna market that.
The shirt that Mitch wears with the submarine logo. I've wanted to have a shirt like that for longer than the channel exists. This is like an inside reference for me. I would love a Mitch plushie. The problem is because their plushies are a lot more custom. You can't really do like print on demand that you do with shirts. I would need to like custom purchase all the plushies ahead of time in bulk and then sell them off. So I can't really do that unless I know that they're all going to sell. And the minimum number of Mitch plushies I would have to buy is 500. So I would need to know that like 90% of those would definitely sell. Otherwise, I would lose a lot of money. I
Take
want
your
to.
entire stock.
I would love to, and I'd like to come back to it like down the line, if it's more financially viable, if the channel grows large enough. But right now I'm not sure I can. I can take that risk. Thank you so much for dropping by, Paha.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed.
I planned to get a video out either today or tomorrow. It's my sister's birthday tomorrow, so I'm a little bit backed up.
Happy birthday, sister. Smell huggable meat.
I know, right? I want a body pillow.
Of Mitch?
And no. That picture you showed me the other day.
Oh my god.
Oh, don't worry, Alex. You won't be saying that later. This is not that kind of.
Do you want to tease anything about the next audio you're working on? Shall we? Would that be a good way to end? Like, quick tease of what we're working on next?
Well, this next video isn't really that big of a. Like, it is. It's a nice video, but it's not like a big.
It's a bit shorter.
I'll put it this way. Raise your hand if you like Don and Andrew.
Wait, that's what. Wait, you showed me a
Would
different
be
one. Isn't that what's
if
coming out
something
next?
Bad happened to them.
So wait, hang on. Which one's coming out first?
No, the other one that I showed you last night is coming out.
Okay. Do you want to tease that?
But that is the bigger one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the return of Andrew.
I'll put it to you this way. Guys. Next video coming out. Maybe within the next couple days. Death comes for everyone.
You need to get me the details for the title so I can chuck you the thumbnail whenever you need that.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Don't worry. In case you guys didn't know this already, Mage makes all of my sexy thumbnails.
Oh yeah, I do the thumbnails for Jessie, and I made this animated background as well.
Yeah, the background that you see, it's good. That is actually one of the reasons that, like, when him and I started talking, when we were just friends, just fun friends, he literally chucked me an entire, like, 15-minute long, like, loop of the background that was so much better. And he goes, I just did this. And I was like, what? Why?
Because
Why
the
would you do
background
that?
you were using was too low resolution. I could see the bitrate.
You're, like, it sounds like, oh, that's so cute. And in reality, he was like, okay,
Yeah, that wasn't me doing. Oh,
your thing looks
I'll
like
do
shit. I fixed it.
I'll do something nice and then I'll woo her. No, we were literally just friends at that point, and I was like,
Yeah.
this background is I can see the data rate.
You're like, listen, I love your videos, but, like, what is this?
Yeah, I just wanted to challenge myself and see if I could recreate it. Do you have the original GIF still?
Somewhere.
Can you chuck it to me if you can find it in the next few minutes? Because I could bring up the original for comparison on the stream if you want.
Oh god. Oh god, I don't know where it would be. Probably in downloads. I think I might have deleted it.
Oh no.
I would have kept it.
For old times? Well, because like me, you might be a horrific file hoarder.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
I keep files and like video projects from years back. I recently, in the last week or so, deleted like a series of 10 or so projects that I'd made some animations for banners for a website. I was like, I'm never going to need this again. Deleted it. 3 days later, the person from the website was like, hey, remember those videos you did years ago? I was like, ah.
I don't have it
This
anymore.
is why I keep them. Oh, okay.
It doesn't exist.
That's a shame. But yeah, it was something like like 200, 300 pixels. Was it like was it actually like a GIF image file?
Yeah, it was a GIF I found online.
Yeah. I just decided to. I think, can I AI upscale this video? Nah, it's a bit too low quality. You'll be able to see the artifacting. Can I make it from scratch? Ooh, let's see if I can. So like the bubbles I I already had a plugin for that, but that didn't work, so I bought another plugin that had more realistic bubbles. The background was just like a flat color, and I added a you know that Michael Bay style blue streaking, horizontal streaking across the screen. Like the recent Star Trek films had an abundance of that weird streaking. I have a filter for that, and I just rotated it slowly, and that's the lights at the top. Oh, you found the original?
I found it. Yeah, hold on.
Gimme.
Give me a second. Wait a minute. Shook it in the bin.
Nice. Okay. Let me. Oh my god.
It hurts him deep inside.
Oh, I'm glad I rebuilt this. Okay.
He's looking at it like.
Let me just add that as a media source. Bubbles.
You guys love that inherent clicking. I listen to that all the dang time. Oh, that's okay. You should see the times that I sent him pictures, and he's like, "What is this resolution?" And I'm like,
you send me very low
yeah,
resolution
see?
stuff.
Look at it. It was really bad. Oh.
Yeah, you can. Actually, if I did actually ask you about it ahead of time, I just decided I was just gonna make it. Or some of the bubbles just pop into existence very obviously. Oh dear. Yeah, because it's a GIF, the way that GIF compresses pixels. Actually, can I set this to point? Okay.
No,
so if I pause it. Okay, your stream hasn't broken. I just paused it, but the pixels were very, very sharp. There's a lot of dithering. That's kind of how GIFs work. So you see the dotted effects, very much like the sprites in like Gen 3, Gen 4 Pokemon. That's how GIFs work. I could have AI upscaled it, but AI doesn't quite know what to do with that, and it would have looked a bit wonky. So I thought I'd try my hand at recreating it just as a challenge. I'll get rid of. I'll just talk about video at this point. Oh my god, we should stop.
He'll go. He'll just go.
I'm sorry.
Alex, I love how you, as the artist, are like, what is this?
And Bubble, it didn't loop at all. So I wasn't able to make a proper loop for this background. If you watch very closely, there's just a 1 second fade every minute. Right there. The fade was just then. So it only plays for a minute because it was built for your outros, which don't normally go on for longer than a minute. But for it to, I couldn't get it to loop seamlessly. I could have made it play for a lot longer, but this project just has so many layers that it's not happy. So I was like, a minute will do. It takes like 2 hours to render this 1 minute out, by the way. That's how old my Mac is.
I remember when he sent it to me, I was like, okay, I have 3 years, don't worry. We'll be here for a while.
Right.
I say as we end the stream.
I think we are out of questions. We have been streaming for 2 hours. This was a lot of fun. Oh, another question. Okay, Quinn. You get the last question, and then we'll wrap up here.
Go ahead.
Editing programs. I use Final Cuts, which is why I'm stuck on Macintosh. This is my favorite editing. Like, I used to use Adobe Premiere Pro at work, and I cannot stand that program. I can't stand their subscription service. I can't stand Adobe. It crashes constantly. I've lost like hours of work because the program is supposed to autosave, and it autosaves by bringing up a big window that says, "Hey, we're autosaving," right in the middle of work. It's like, could you just not do that while I'm working? And then sometimes it just I can't be asked, and it just doesn't save, and I've lost, like, not YouTube, actual for money work because Adobe just could not be bothered to save. I love Final Cut. Downside is it's Mac only, and Macs are expensive.
Yeah, I use Audacity for all of my recording. And then I just have like a free video software, don't shame me, for the actual videos. Mostly because like the video part is kind of not the big part. Usually, usually there's like one or two images that you're looking at to essentially set the scene, and that's it. So I don't really need a lot. I'm not making an entire animation. I'm making like, here, have something pretty to look at while I talk in your ear.
You just need basic video editing software for that, and you use software that's better than Movie Maker Live.
And it's free. If y'all are starting out and you're curious about doing it, Audacity, it's free.
And then move on from Audacity, right, Jessie?
One of the listen, I'm not gonna be elitist about it. One of the reasons I like Audacity is because it's free, it means a lot of people use it. So if there's a vocal effect that I try to mimic or I want to try and do, finding tutorials for that kind of thing online is really easy because so many people use it that it's already been done. So finding tutorials is like, right on the money.
I think that's everything. Let us wrap up. What a weird way of wording it.
Let us wrap. I'm hungry.
Thank you all so much for dropping by. Thank you for the fantastic questions. This has been a lot of fun. We'll probably do more streams in the future. Just we'll try to announce ahead of time. If you want to keep up to date with like future stuff that's going on, because like YouTube notifications are completely hit and miss. Best way to keep track of what we're up to, anything that we're announcing, is most likely on each of our Discord servers. Jessie's is not linked below, but it is linked on the front page of her channel at the top right.
Yeah, it's on the front page of my channel.
I
just forgot. I'm a numpty.
No, we didn't say ahead of time we're doing that. And yeah, mine's in my cards, magebunkshelf.cards.co. That's card with 2 R's. Both of our servers are 18 plus only, so please make sure you are above 18. Yeah, Jessie has announcements channel for that, for anything new, such as these streams. On my server, get the alerts roll in when you're getting your rolls, and then you'll be pinged whenever anything related to the channel gets announced. That's probably the best way of keeping track of any of our stuff, because yeah, again, YouTube's notification system just does what it likes. Yeah, that's everything. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's pretty much it. As I said before, death comes for all of us.
I'm looking forward to that audio. Oh, I never said what I was what my next audio was going to be. I never teased that.
I know. What is it going to be? Tell us.
Thanks for watching. Join us. It's going to be a new one shot. It's actually something that we talked about not too long ago. I don't really want to spoil it, but it's I'm not sure the best way of wording
it without
giving away too much information.
It's okay. It's coming, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, watch out for the rain.
I don't want to rain in your parade.
Thanks for dropping by, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. We've had a lot of fun. Take care, and we'll see you later.
Bye, everyone.
And now press the stop streaming at the top right.
I know how to do it, smart one.
I had to get that in before you finished. I had.
So let me tell you how to end the stream.
Shut up. No.